Thank you for tuning in with us again. Today we have some interesting classic car details that you might find interesting. Follow me. So around me at the moment we have lots of 300SL stuff. We have an engine and gearbox, we have the chassis, and we have the body. Now very shortly the engine and gearbox are going to be fitted into this chassis, and then they're going to be put underneath the hoist. The frame under the body currently will be removed and it will be lowered down, shimmed correctly before it can go to the paint department. Now there's a whole reason why it's done this way on particularly Gullwings and 300SL Roadsters because of this frame, but we'll do that in another video. Before we miss the opportunity, we thought it would be really good and interesting to show the differences between a 190SL gearbox and a 300SL gearbox. Now, if you look from the outside, they look very similar. There's not a huge amount of differences, but when you come a bit closer, you'll see that there's quite a lot of differences, especially internally. Now, this is all due to the extra power the 300SL makes, as well as the way they're meant to be used for racing and continuously driven aggressively. So come in close and I'll show you some interesting things. Here we have a sandwich plate between the extension housing and the gearbox casing. You'll see that piece of steel in the middle there. If we come over here to the 190SL, you'll see straight away that that is not there anymore. That is there to add strength between the gears pushing themselves apart and cracking the casing. Now this was a big problem when they first came out, and there was a number of casings that were cracked in the middle between the bearings, trying to press the casing apart due to the extra load and the force of driving them aggressively. So they did this here just to add a bit of strength, and then they also, on the 300SL gearbox, added bearings. On the top, which is on the output shaft bearing and the input shaft bearing, there's actually two bearings here and two bearings there. This is twice what the 190SL has, and it just adds and distributes the load better for aggressive driving. Now, some other interesting things. Now you'll see this extension housing is quite a lot bigger as well in other ways, but it has this piece in the bottom of it. You see down here. Now if we go to the 190SL, you'll see this doesn't exist. Behind the 190SL, there's just this extension housing. It just has the cluster bearings here and the cluster shaft. On the 300SL, this is very different. This actually has an oil pump in here, and this oil pump has a little pressure regulator, and this pressure feeds all the gears and the bearings between them and the bearings that are supporting the input and output shaft. This is very important if you're racing and you want things to last. So this is what they did to help cool the gearbox as well as keep things and just reduce wear. But this also means as well that people make a lot of mistakes here, and people seem to want to put normal gearbox oil, which is like good for a Muncie or other cars of the period, inside of these gearboxes because they think it's a gearbox and you just put gear oil in it. That is not true. These are meant to have transmission oil in them, and there's a lot thinner, and it protects everything as they're meant to be. But on this gearbox, particularly on the 300SL, if you go and put gear oil inside of this, it really puts a lot of strain on this little oil pump here, and a lot of the time it can actually do a lot of damage. So it's very important to make sure you put the right type of automatic transmission fluid inside of these gearboxes if you want them to last, especially this 300SL one, because they're pretty expensive to fix. And yeah, so I just thought that would be something interesting that you would like to know. Thanks for your time. Bye.